number one slogan for abortion is pro-choice. And the ironic thing about that slogan is that when you ask women who had abortions, why did you have that abortion? The number one response is, I felt that I had no choice. A majority, maybe upwards of 80% of abortions in America happen with some form of coercion. In other words, not the woman's choice.
I had this one lady that called me one afternoon, and she said that she wanted to make an appointment for her daughter to come in and have an abortion. I said, does she want to have the abortion? Well, you know, it's not her choice.
So I went to a counselor, a Christian counselor, and she kept saying I needed to have an abortion, and then this was not a good thing for me to do, and it wasn't going to be good for my kids. Then I told my fiance, then I told my mother, then I told my other family members. All of a sudden, everybody's like, you can't do this, you can't do this, you don't want to do this is not good for the kids, this is not good for you, this is not good for our marriage, I don't want to raise this child.
Would have been somebody who would have changed the dynamic of our family. And the relationships that they would have created would have changed everyone that they interacted with. But they're not here.
In abortion, it's not about choice, it's about despair. It's not about people who are getting abortions because of freedom of choice. It's about people getting abortions because they feel they have no freedom and no choice.
Through conversations with him pushing the abortion, and then that kind of frustrated me at some point. I just felt like he didn't care about me, that he was just thinking about, like, let's fix this. That's exactly his words. We need to fix this.
That I was in fear and in crisis, and at that point that I felt like I had no choice.
Women are the victims. In a lot of these cases, women are coerced and in crisis mode and regret the decision that they've made.
Women feel threatened that if they don't have an abortion, their lives will be punished for it. The stories of the boyfriend saying, I'll give you the $300 and our relationship will continue if you have the abortion. If you choose to keep the baby, there's the door.
I was dating a young man, and we got pregnant. And the first words out of his mouth to me were, "You're not having it, are you?" And I remember that sinking feeling in my heart, and I thought, well, no, I guess not. And I felt so much pressure.
Absolutely do not think that my choice was a choice. I think it was, like I said before, I think it felt like an ultimatum.
They're all screaming at me. It felt like they were screaming at me. They were constantly insisting, you've got to kill him, you've got to abort him, you can't do this, you've got to go to the clinic, you've got to hurry up. Every week that you wait is making it worse. Go, 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 go. And I finally couldn't take all of their pressure and how supposedly I'm going to make everybody's life miserable. It was relentless. It's like I couldn't even go through the day without hearing them, whether they were actually speaking to me or I'm just remembering something they said to me a couple of hours ago. I mean, they just bombarded me with it. So I guess I have to bear this burden so that everybody else can be okay.
Too often, through coercion, the woman goes on to have an abortion, convinced she's in trouble and that the procedure will get her out of it. Unfortunately, the trouble has only just begun. The physical and emotional consequences of her decision are often devastating, well outlasting the 9 months she would have carried her baby, or even the time it takes for that baby to reach adulthood.
We remembered what our girlfriends looked like before and after.
Because abortion goes to the core of who we are as women, and the fact that we are involved in nurturing life, that an abortion experience really does leave a mark.
There's something that happens to a woman's mind once they pass what I call that fine line.
Abortion is so shameful and secretive that many women don't tell anybody that they've had an abortion.
They won't say anything for 20, 30, 40, 55 years. Sometimes on their deathbeds. Nobody knows because they're so traumatized. Silence.
It can also have psychological effects, short and long term, for the woman.
The Supreme Court itself said in the Gonzalez v. Carhart case that this is not rocket science, unexceptional to note that some women have negative consequences from abortion.
She'd say, well, I'm pretty sure that you have, post-traumatic stress disorder from the abortion that you had when you were 14. And I said, yeah, no, that's not what it is. I always thought, I have major depression, or I'm bipolar, or all these other things that other doctors had diagnosed me. It was definitely my abortion that had caused serious emotional trauma for so long.
We have more and more men and women who've had abortions are speaking up about it, and as they testify to the pain and the despair that abortion has brought, as they testify to the fact that abortion didn't solve their problems but only created more of them, then they are, by their very testimony, they're making it impossible for the other side to say, listen to the voices of women, this is a positive thing for women. That's, of course, what they've been trying to say for decades, and now those very voices are telling them abortion is a bad thing.
And then later women come to deeply regret and suffer years of nightmares and anxiety and incredible pain and anguish.
Why do so many women, including myself, have dreams about their children? And especially in my situation where I didn't think of it as being a child, but I had nightmares and dreams about children.
I know a lot of women have suffered from having nightmares, hearing babies crying in the night, inability to bond with living children.
The fear of being found out. What if people knew what you've done? Or people think you're a godly woman, but they have no idea that you've killed 4 people. Grief and the shame just about buried me at times.
After I left there and went home, I guess it was the hormones or whatnot set in, and just the emotions, the reality of what all happened. And I remember just curling in a corner and pulling out my hair and just thinking, I can't believe I had done this.
Rather than just go through a 9-month crisis pregnancy, that I've gone through about 20 years of hell on earth, just by exercising my right to choose.
Women are constantly said, they didn't tell me I'd suffer for years from my abortion. They didn't tell me I'd have nightmares about my baby. They didn't tell me I'd come to regret it so deeply that I would rather kill myself than go on living. It's 10 minutes, you'll never have to think about it again. That's a lie.